Hello and welcome. My name is Christina from Empowered Creator. I'm a mindset and conscious manifesting teacher and coach, and this is my YouTube channel. Here I talk about all things law of assumption, mindset, conscious manifesting, the quantum universe, and a lot more. And my goal is to simplify everything without the fluff. So if you guys like this video and you would like to see more of it, I would love it if you would subscribe to this channel, comment on this video, like it, share it, and just stick around. Also, if you need any help with your specific situation, I offer one-on-one coaching, email coaching, small group coaching, as well as custom subliminals for whatever needs you may have. So if you guys are interested in any of these services, the links are below in the description box. Click on them and they're going to take you to my website. With all that being said, let's get to today's video. And we have a slightly different setup today. You might notice that the lighting is a little different. That's because my ring light that I use has died. So I'm having to use the room light. I have ordered a new ring light. Hopefully it will arrive in the next few days. But today's video and maybe the next few days ones might seem a little different to what you're used to. So anyway, with that being said, today's video is going to be about the conscious mind and the subconscious mind and their actual importance, their actual significance in conscious manifesting. I'm going to give a brief overview of what each part of our mind is, what it does, what purposes it serves. We're not going to go very deep scientifically because that's a whole science, that's neuroscience, but I'm going to give a brief overview of it, and then I'm going to talk about how the conscious mind and the subconscious mind work together to bring us our manifestations. This is what I'll be discussing today, so stay tuned. So let's start with the conscious mind. What is the conscious mind? Essentially, it is everything that we're aware of. That can include our thoughts, it can include our feelings, it can include our decisions, it can include our assumptions, it can include conclusions that we draw, how we interpret situations, how we label them, everything that pretty much that we are aware of consciously on a conscious level. This in a nutshell is our conscious mind. Now, what is our subconscious mind? Our subconscious mind is pretty much everything else. A lot of experts are going to tell you that our subconscious mind actually rules at least 95% of our life. And that is because our subconscious mind is the part of our mind that receives all the stimuli from the environment. At any given moment, we're talking about millions of stimuli from the environment in each single moment. Everything gets recorded into the subconscious. And the subconscious basically registers and contains everything that we have ever perceived, whether it's consciously or not. That can include our memories. That can include memories we're not even aware of, that we don't even consciously remember. That can include our conditioning from our childhood, from our school years, from our peers, however we were conditioned from our society, however we were conditioned growing up, and also how we are conditioned in the course of our lives. And one very important difference to remember between the two parts of the mind is that the conscious mind has judgment. That means it can actually tell what is true from what is not true. The subconscious mind, on the other hand, does not have that kind of judgment. It cannot tell true from false, and it basically accepts everything that it is given, everything that it is fed. Which is why all our conditioning, all our memories, even from our very, very early years, actually go through the subconscious and get registered into the subconscious and actually end up shaping our personality. They end up shaping our assumptions. They end up shaping what we end up accepting as true for us. And we tend to basically play out our subconscious patterns throughout our lives. So this is a very brief overview of what the two parts of the mind are about. But what is more of interest to us as conscious manifestors is the role that these two parts of the mind play in our conscious manifesting. When we're manifesting a desire, when we're manifesting a new reality, when we're manifesting new states for ourselves, when we're manifesting something different that we want to see, something we want to change, something we want to improve. What is the role and what is the purpose of each of the two parts of the mind, of the conscious part and the subconscious part? So essentially, and this is also very central in Neville's teachings, we want the two parts to agree. We want the conscious part of the mind to agree with the subconscious part of the mind, and this is why. The conscious mind that I just said is the mind, the part of the mind that has the judgment, that is able to tell what is true and what is false, is actually the gatekeeper of everything. It receives a stimuli from the environment, it receives a thought, and immediately decides whether it's true or not true. Hence the name gatekeeper, because it is what stands between essentially the external world and our subconscious mind, and it allows certain things that it decides are true to pass through and get registered into the subconscious, whereas other things that it deems as false, it actually blocks them, and it actually says, no, that's not true, I don't accept that. So from what I've just said, you understand that it's the conscious mind that actually gives us resistance to when we're trying to manifest something new, when we're trying to manifest a new reality, something that we're not yet experiencing in the 3D, something that we want to see happen, but we're not yet experiencing with our senses. Well, the first reaction of our conscious mind is actually, no, this is not true, this is false. And this is what it's designed to do, this is what it's designed to be. So don't be mad at your conscious mind. It's doing its job, and it's doing its job very well. But the side effect to that is when we're trying to work with our imagination and when we're trying to actually access our subconscious mind, and I'm going to talk about that in a second, we essentially don't want the resistance from the conscious mind because it just makes our life harder, and sometimes it can give us stress, it can cause us anxiety, it can cause us doubts. Because remember, the conscious mind only knows what it is conscious of. It knows only what the senses show us. It shows only what the world around us right now shows us. So if it cannot see it in the 3D, it's not going to, at least initially, accept it as true. Now the subconscious mind, which actually, as I said, has no judgment, it cannot tell true from false, it's actually going to accept what the conscious mind feeds it as true. And that can be through images, that can be through words, that can be through assumptions that the conscious mind has filtered and has decided are true. It can learn through feelings, it can learn through emotions, it can learn even through a traumatic experience. When we have a traumatic experience and we're having a strong emotional response, that gets registered into our subconscious, and our subconscious learns through that experience that this is so, I'm drawing this conclusion, this is it, this is that, this is how things are in that particular situation. It accepts that specific story, it accepts that specific conclusion, if you will. So essentially what we're trying to do as conscious manifestors is convince our conscious mind to accept the new reality that it initially rejects as not true, as something that can be true, that can be a potential for us, accept it as something that can be. And so essentially, through what we tell ourselves consciously, through the new stories that we're telling ourselves, through using images, for example, visualizing, or through scripting, or through doing inner conversations, or through affirmations, through our imagination, we're basically trying to bypass that resistance, or at least lower that resistance from the conscious mind, so that these images, these feelings, these new stories, these new realities that we desire to see in the 3D can actually pass through into the subconscious. Because once they pass through into the subconscious, once the subconscious accepts them as true, and if something stronger doesn't overcome it, if something stronger doesn't come to ride over it and tell it a new story, the subconscious is going to accept that story as true, as real. Remember that it cannot distinguish between true or false. It accepts whatever is being fed to it as true. And so once our subconscious accepts a story as true, what is going to happen is that it has to manifest it. It's going to play it out for us. It's going to find ways from the infinite number of resources that are at its disposal that we're not even aware of to actually bring it to our 3D, to actually materialize it for us, and to actually make it objectively true in the 3D world, in the 3D reality. So what we're doing as conscious manifestors is that we are, over time, convincing the conscious mind to lower its resistance to our new story, to our new reality, to our new state that we're creating for ourselves or for whatever situation we're manifesting. And by bypassing this resistance, inscribe that story, impress that story onto the subconscious mind. Once the subconscious mind actually accepts it, There is a very beautiful synergy between the conscious and the subconscious mind. You will feel it as living in the state, living in the end state, living in the wishful field. You're going to feel a calmness. You're going to feel a lack of urgency. You're going to feel a sort of neutral, fine feeling. You're going to feel a knowing that things are happening, things are going to unfold the way you want them to. And both your thoughts that represent the conscious mind and your feelings that typically and more usually represent the subconscious mind are actually going to be aligned. You are going to be thinking and feeling along the same lines. It is what some teachers have called the brain-heart coherence. And you will feel it. You will just know it by how you feel. You will know that your conscious and your subconscious mind, at least in those moments that you're living in the end, in those days, in those weeks, however long that state lasts, are actually in agreement, are actually in coherence. And this is what we ultimately want as conscious manifestors. This is what we're striving towards. This is the reason why we're doing the techniques. This is why we're trying to impress our subconscious mind with. And this is what we know is ultimately going to bring us our manifestations, even if it's something that feels very, very remote to our current reality, to our current 3D. With all that being said, I'm going to wrap up this video here. I intend that this has helped. As always, I very much appreciate you guys being on this channel, watching this content. I love making this content for you. And as always, I look forward to seeing you all at the next video. Until then, take care and bye-bye.